Hello everyone, Mr. Happy here and welcome to my guide for Sohr Khai, a new dungeon added in patch 3.3. This dungeon is obtained as part of the 3.3 main scenario quests. It requires a minimum item level of 200 to enter and drops item level 215 armor, as well as tomestones. This dungeon consists of several trash pulls and 3 bosses. To skip to a specific boss, please use the annotations in the top left hand of the video. For the first few pulls of the dungeon, there's going to be mostly basic mobs, things you're used to when it comes to dungeons. However, there will also be enemies called enchanted fans. If you kill an enchanted fan, they'll actually drop an AoE that if you step in it, it will knock you away, but will also give you a haste buff. So kill the enchanted fans first and use the haste buff to kill things faster. Do this for a few pulls before you come to the first boss. The first boss is Chieftain Mogollon. During the fight, Mogollon will summon plenty of Moogles to help him deal with you. The other named one, Captain Mog's son, covers Mogollon, so you'll need to kill him when he's alive in order to kill the boss. The rest of them just attack and do some AoEs, so stack them up and AoE them down. When Mogollon starts channeling Palm Praise, he's going to summon AoEs under a number of the dead Moogles. What you'll need to do is attack the dead Moogles' corpses in order to knock them away from the AoEs. If they are not knocked out of the AoEs, they will resurrect at full health and they'll also gain higher maximum health. He will continue to summon more and more Moogles and attempt to resurrect them, so just make sure you're on top of knocking them away and it's an easy fight. He also does summon a flipping looking staff that shoots an AoE plus a vulnerability stack in a cross section through the arena, what I like to call the Bomberman explosion, so make sure to just be away from it when it spawns. After Mogollon, you'll come to a few more trash packs, nothing fancy here, but keep in mind that a fair number of these enemies actually cleave with their every auto attack, so ensure they are facing away from the group. That's some damage you don't want to deal with. Kill a few more packs before facing the second boss. The second boss is Pokira. This boss has 2 fairly simple mechanics. For its Quasar attack, assure that no one is between the boss and a wall, so stand either directly behind or in front of the boss for this attack. If Quasar hits a wall, it will destroy it and reveal electric-looking water. Standing in this water puts a very strong dot on a player, so you'll want to avoid stepping in it at all. When Pokira jumps into the air, it will crash down on one of the 2 ends of the arena, which you'll want to stand far away from, as well as break one or more of the walls. It will then dash through the arena, knocking up anyone who's directly in its path and knocking anyone else to the sides. Now what you're going to want to do is get knocked to the side, but make sure you're not knocked into the electric water. I don't make a very good example of this in the video. That's what not to do, how about that? Pokira also marks players with Cloud Call and has that attack summon a giant cloud AoE over the marked player's head. Drop this away from the party and keep in mind that when it explodes, it will destroy nearby walls. It's not so bad, as you saw we basically stood in the water AoEs and did fine, but that's not the recommended way to do this fight. Moving on. The final few trash pulls consist of a few dragons. One of them cauterizes the group to form an ice path. After killing those, you're on to the final boss. The final boss is Felger, and this arena consists of several platforms with wind currents to jump between them. The boss itself is omnidirectional, so don't worry about having a hard time pulling off positionals here. Felger shoots people with a Holy Beam AoE, which pulses repeatedly for moderate damage. Just move away from the pulsing area to get out of the damage. Shortly into the fight, Felger will elect to destroy several platforms with a giant AoE. Don't get hit by that AoE and don't be standing on those platforms. Now with less platforms, it's going to severely limit your movement along the arena for the other mechanics that come now. With this done, he will then summon several holy sprites that shoot people with magic attacks, and you should kill these. He will also summon ice orbs with his Diamond Storm attack, which will float around the arena and explode if they get near any players, doing moderate damage and inflicting heavy. They're not lethal, but you don't want to have to constantly deal with the damage that they do. So keep an eye on those orbs and jump away from them if they get too close to you. Just continue killing sprites and dodging AoEs and you should be fine. It's not an overly difficult fight. Felger will elect to destroy even more platforms at some point in the fight, but the strategy remains the same, just with way less room. And that's my guide for Sohr Khai. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and check out my other videos for patch 3.3 and as we're getting ready for patch 3.35 and all the news that's coming up with that. Anyway, thank you for watching, I'll see you all in the next one, and until then, take care.